You know the Young Turks. They're progressive news. Yeah, I can't say progressive news with a straight face, but you know them. There's Anna, who's much better than you, and Cenk, who volunteers as a Sarlacc on the weekends. They also have other panelists, like my Wigga Sean King, but they're the sweaty forehead of the Young Turks. They're dedicated to indoctrinating you into whatever social program they feel is acceptable, whether it be feminism or Black Lives Matter. During the 2016 election, they decided to back Bernie Sanders, who will tax the 1%, the 99%, and give you the free health care. But I'm sorry, Cenk and Anna, that's not how economics works. So now, let's see you defend Venezuela, the socialist hellhole. This should be good.
Venezuela is currently undergoing a devastating economic crisis, and as a result, individuals living in the country do not have access to affordable food. And so many people are losing an insane amount of weight in
I'll tell you right now, Nosejob, big government is what's killing Venezuela.
a very short period of time. Recently, there was a study done by the country's National Survey of Living Condition. 3 major universities in Venezuela get together to do this survey. And what they found was that, on average, people have lost 19 pounds in 1 year. According to the new results from an annual national survey, nearly 3/4 of respondents reported losing an average of 19 pounds between 2015 and 2016. Also, the portion of respondents who said they ate 2 or fewer meals increased threefold, climbing from 11.3% in 2015 to 32.5% in the past year.
Jesus Christ, 19 pounds. That's like one of Chank's chins.
That is literally unbelievable. I don't believe it. So
Do you look in the mirror and say that?
the phenomenon is obviously real.
Does Jank's doctor say that?
Go year if it's true.
Okay, so let's talk about methodology a little bit. This is a survey, so of course it's based on self-reporting. And so people in Venezuela right now are angry, they are hungry, and the economic situation is devastating. So could some of them be exaggerating their weight loss
Coincidentally, Cenk does the same thing.
while responding to this survey? Absolutely. But the economic situation there is a complete and utter disaster.
But like, capitalism makes people greedy, man. Free stuff is a human right, man.
Venezuela spent all its money on a lot of social programs, right?
But hold on. Look, there's a little bit of propaganda in there too. So let me explain. So I'm not defending Hugo Chavez and
How do you not see the problem? Government mandated free stuff can never be sustained.
I think the economy is a mess. They should have planned better, etc.
The planned economy is the problem, Cenk. Socialism in any form is never the answer, Cenk.
Spend money on your own citizens. Now, when you do spend money on your own citizens, you still have to be careful and figure out what is a good long-term strategy.
That's right.
But Saudi Arabia has a lot less people than Venezuela does.
This is fake news. Saudi Arabia's population is only 1.5 million people short of Venezuela's.
So yeah, they didn't overspend, partly because the royalty keeps most of the money.
Yeah.
It's funny because per capita, Venezuela's GDP is 55% of what Saudi Arabia's is.
So,
Wait, just let me be clear about something. I'm just bringing Saudi Arabia because some people might bring up that country and be like, well, if Saudi Arabia relies heavily on oil, then how come when oil prices went down, Saudi Arabia's economy didn't suffer as much? That's the only reason why I bring it up. I'm not...
I don't know why it's so hard to understand. Socialism always fails, and we have evidence of this.
The reason why I bring it up. I'm not saying Saudi Arabia has a good way of governing and a good economic situation that's fair and equal for everyone.
You've got to be kidding. Only a few Islamists praise the Saudi government, but it's worlds ahead of any socialist country. The idea of the government equalizing wealth is fucking horrifying.
I'm saying that those are the two differences.
no, I understand that, but let's continue to talk about the larger issues here. I have almost never seen an article about Venezuela in the West that didn't talk about, oh, the socialism doesn't work. Socialism, though, the problem is socialism, right?
Yeah.
Right, wrong. Venezuela is failing because Venezuela is socialist, and socialism always fails.
Whether it's Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Dubai, you name it, Qatar, whatever. No, they're all absolutely propped up by oil money, okay? And even Russia's a disaster now because the oil prices have gone down. That's part of the reason that they're lashing out and doing the Trump thing and yada yada, right?
Say it with me, Chank. The Clinton Foundation is reliant on money from countries like Qatar.
That oil makes them rich and lazy. And so they get overly dependent on oil because it's so easy. It's so easy that you just drill, you get the money, and then you spend it, and a lot of times you overspend it. So the problem is in socialism, they don't have that in the Gulf at all.
If socialism is the answer, why is it that Venezuela is the first oil-reliant nation to fall? I thought the government can give away free stuff indefinitely. Really bumming me out.
Only because of the fact that they spent the money on their own citizens. No.
Oh yes, universal healthcare is so great. Have you seen Venezuelan hospitals? You can't throw money at a problem and expect it to be fixed. Right? Of course!
It's the over-reliance on oil. They put all their eggs in that basket. The over-reliance on imports and not producing anything in their own country, right? And then also the fact that they weren't as responsible and they didn't plan ahead with their money. I'm not saying don't spend that money on social programs. Of course, I love social programs. I think
the only social program Anti-Kasparian believes in is the genocide of the unborn.
I think that it's important, especially when it comes to things like wealth and income inequality. Equality.
Then why didn't the Gulf states have this happen to them? I'll tell you why. It's because they did not adopt the worst economic system imaginable.
Look, so let me tell you about what a mess Venezuela is. To read you the last graphic here, the International Monetary Fund estimates that the country's inflation is expected to rise 1,660% this year and 2,880% next year. Jesus Christ. So yes, the government in Venezuela has absolutely made a mess of it, and there's corruption. Okay.
This happens because the 1% does not have enough money to pay for every social program imaginable. It's going to cost the taxpayer.
Millionaires. So there's the appearance of everything is fine. You stop if they run out of oil reserves or gas reserves in those countries, they're going to be into the wind, man. There's going to be nothing left in those countries. They have no other industry. Why? Same problem as Venezuela. They hit the crack pipe.
Chank, do you have personal experience? Because people who take crack are often restless, anxious, and irritable.
Once you take it out, there's nothing left. Support independent media and get the whole Young Turks 2-hour show and other network shows all ad-free. tytnetwork.com/join. Come join us today.
People, please don't send money to Mr. Uyghur's crack fund. Get help, Chank.